He never liked his own voice. Not since he was little. He learned early how to hide the words that hurt to say, and even more, the ones that hurt to hear back. He suffered in silence while the world laughed at what he most longed to share. But everything changed when silence turned into grief, and pain became a song. No one expected what this 10-year-old boy would do with a broken heart and a guitar in his hands. And no one was prepared for what he had to say, or how he chose to say it. Elliot Monroe was only 10 years old, but he already understood what it meant to feel different. Born with ankylosing, commonly known as tongue-tie, he struggled with speech from the very beginning. While other kids sped through conversations, Elliot had to battle for every sound. His voice was soft, slow, and often came out twisted. Years of therapy didn't erase the teasing. At Lansborough Elementary School, his voice wasn't a gift, it was a target. During recess, Elliot often sat on the edge of the playground alone, watching kids chase each other and hearing his name distorted into cruel rhymes. In class, he kept his head low, praying the teacher wouldn't call on him. Whenever she did, 20 pairs of eyes would lock onto him. Some pitted, others mocked. At home, though, things were different. Their house, tucked in the quiet hills of Vermont, was a sanctuary. It smelled of cinnamon, old paperbacks, and the faint scent of guitar strings. Elliot's father, Daniel Monroe, was its heart. A mechanic by day, a musician by soul, Daniel could coax melodies from a guitar that felt like sunlight on a rainy day. Music wasn't just played in their home, it lived there. In the mornings, Daniel would hum while flipping pancakes. At night, he'd play lullabies near the fire, his eyes closed, swaying gently. Elliot was entranced. From the time he could sit upright, Daniel placed a ukulele in his hands. You don't need perfect words to be heard, his dad told him once. Some truths are sung, not spoken. Elliot took that to heart. By age 7, he had his own second-hand guitar. He stumbled at first, but he never gave up. Under Daniel's patient guidance, he learned chords, then songs. Sometimes, when Daniel sang, Elliot would mouth the words, never quite brave enough to let them out. Whenever Elliot grew frustrated, Daniel would smile and say, then play louder, let your fingers speak. So he did. Elliot grew quiet in speech, but loud in music. At home, his voice wasn't a burden, it was part of a duet. Then came the day that changed everything. October 17th was cold and crisp. Elliot remembered it all, the smell of bacon, the wind whistling through the window cracks, the sound of his father tuning the guitar before heading to work. Daniel ruffled Elliot's hair and whispered, "Got something new to show you tonight. Been working on a song just for you." Elliot never got to hear that song. That afternoon, the call came, a semi-truck, black ice, no survivors. Everything stopped. Elliot didn't cry. He didn't scream. He just sat on the couch, staring at the door Daniel had walked out of that morning. Waiting. Denying. That night, he curled into his father's chair, guitar on his lap, unmoving. He stayed there until morning. And the next. And the next. Elliot stopped speaking. He stopped playing. He stopped everything. His mother, Claire, tried everything singing Daniel's old songs, cooking Elliot's favorites. But she was grieving too. Her hands trembled as she held their toddler daughter, June, who cried endlessly, sensing the absence. The house that once pulsed with music now echoed silence. Elliot shut everyone out, friends, teachers, even his uncle who came from 2 towns over. He didn't reply to texts. Didn't open the blinds. The boy who once danced to guitar riffs became a ghost in his own home. Except one person refused to give up. Her name was Harper. She was 12, clever, and bold, with a voice that could crack glass and a heart that didn't scare easily. She and Elliot had been best friends since 2nd grade, connected by music and mischief. Harper played keyboard and sang like she meant every word. They used to perform at school events together, writing silly songs in the cafeteria. After Daniel's funeral, Harper started visiting. At first, she just knocked. No answer. Then she began slipping notes under his door. "Hi. Miss you." Lyrics from their favorite songs. A chocolate bar. Still nothing. Then one day, she slipped a handwritten song under the door, a simple tune about missing someone. She included a note. "You don't have to talk. Just play. I know you still feel. I miss you." Inside, Elliot stared at the paper. Then, for the first time in weeks, he reached for his guitar. He didn't play yet, but his fingers curled around it, brushing the strings. Outside, Harper sat on the floor, waiting. That winter was the coldest Vermont had seen in years. Snow swallowed Lansborough. It was as if the season mourned with Elliot. Icicles clung to rooftops like frozen tears. Inside the Monroe house, the fire still burned, but it no longer warmed. Elliot remained in his room. His guitar sat in the corner, dusty. His father's framed photo on the nightstand stared back at him, smiling beside a summer festival stage. Elliot couldn't move it, couldn't bear to look away. Claire floated through the days like a ghost. Between extra diner shifts and caring for June, she had no space to grieve properly. Every evening, she'd pause outside Elliot's room. "Dinner's ready, sweetheart," she'd whisper. No answer. June would babble and knock with her tiny fists. Even her giggles couldn't break through the silence. Outside the home, life continued. Holidays came and went. Snow began to melt. Spring crept in, but Elliot stayed frozen. Still, Harper visited. Every week, rain or shine, snow or sleet. Her red scarf wrapped tight, boots crunching against ice. She never expected a response, but always hoped. She left little gifts, a rainbow-painted guitar pick, a drawing of the music room where they used to rehearse. Still nothing. So she brought her keyboard, set it down outside his room, and began to play. Not loud, just soft. Her voice shaky at first, then stronger. The song was called "Still Here." Inside, Elliot sat up. The melody slipped beneath the door like sunlight. Not joy, not peace, but something. "I know you hear me," Harper said. And that's enough. She didn't know he stood just behind the door, trembling. In the days that followed, she returned. With more songs. Some new, some old. She never asked him to speak. Just played. Remembered. Laughed. One day, she left a flyer, a town memorial concert, honoring Daniel's life through music. They wanted to be full of love, her note read. "I think you should be there." That night, Elliot sat at his desk for the first time in months. He wrote. Not rhymes. Not perfect lines. Just truth. Scribbled memories. Quiet confessions. The first word he wrote was, "Dad." He wrote about pancake mornings. The sound of Daniel's truck. The nickname, The Rhythm. And one truth he had never said aloud. "I'm scared I'll forget his voice." That broke him. And it healed him. He cried. For real. Loud, ugly, freeing tears. He began to play again. Softly. Tentatively. Harper noticed. She still came. Still knocked. But now, sometimes, he knocked back. Once. Then twice. Then he opened the door. A crack. Then wider. Then one day, he let her in. They didn't speak. She played. He listened. Eventually, he strummed along. Music returned. Slowly. Naturally. Claire watched from the hallway, her heart swelling as her son laughed for the first time in months. June waddled in and clapped to the rhythm. Elliot taught her to tap spoons on pans. "You don't have to sing," Harper said. "But maybe you should. Your voice is part of the song." Elliot looked down. "What if they laugh?" Harper smiled. "Then let them. You're still singing. That's braver than most." He nodded. One night, he stood in front of his mirror, guitar in hand. He whispered lyrics. His voice cracked. Slurred. But it was his. Then he called Harper into the room. "I want to try the whole thing." He played. A full song. About memory. About melody. About holding on. The chorus was a promise. "I'll carry your heart. I'll carry your song. Even with a broken voice. I'll bring you home." Harper wept. "He'd be so proud," she said. "I want to sing it at the memorial," Elliot whispered. She blinked. "You sure?" He nodded. "I need to." They practiced. Every day. On a warm spring night, Harper recorded a rehearsal. Shaky hands. Tearful eyes. They watched it together. Elliot flinched. "What if it's bad?" "It's honest," Harper said. "That's all that matters." She uploaded it. Titled it simply, Elliot Monroe. For my dad. By morning, thousands had watched. By week's end, 1,000,000. Messages flooded in. "I lost my dad, too. Thank you for saying what I couldn't." His voice isn't broken. It's beautiful. Then came the school board's invitation. Perform live at the memorial. Elliot said yes. On the day of the event, the community center glowed in twilight. Photos of Daniel lined the stage. A single stool waited under soft lights. Backstage, Elliot shook. Harper held his hand. "What if my voice cracks?" he asked. "Then let it. It just means it's real." He stepped into the light. The crowd quieted. "Hi, I'm Elliot. This is for my dad." He played. His voice trembled. It faltered, but it sang. And when he reached the final line, he sang it clearly. "I'll carry your heart. I'll carry your song." The room rose to its feet. Applause. Tears. Joy. Love. Elliot looked out and knew. His voice was never broken. It was becoming. And someone, somewhere, had finally heard it. So if you're reading this, and you've been quiet too long, remember Elliot Monroe. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You just need to be true. Because someone is waiting to hear a voice just like yours. And it might just change everything.